What's good, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Stocks and Cigars. It's your boy G. Man, it's a new year, 2024, and it's time to get it. Everything we talked about last year is starting to come into fruition, and we are seeing some big moves in the market. I'm excited. I hope y'all are too. Man, let's get right into this. Today, we coming to you guys from the beautiful Smoke District right here in Tampa, Florida. One of my favorite spots. It's actually become home for me. So the staff was lovely enough to set me up right in front of the humidor. Obviously, we walked through there before, but I'm gonna walk y'all through again because there's some new things that I want to show you guys right here at this spot. The huge thing about this is, man, Moderna turning up. I don't know if y'all seen it. It's unbelievable what's happening with Moderna right now, right? Next week they'll be talking at the JP Morgan conference. It's the healthcare conference they do every single year. It starts on Monday. We're gonna see some explosive moves in that stock. If that CEO says anything about a weight loss drug or anything that they're doing with that cancer drug being a positive thing with that stock, we are going to see fireworks, guys. The other big one, SPX, we're starting to see it come down. Remember, I talked about the Black Swan. The Black Swan event has kind of been what's been happening over in the Red Sea with Iran, US, and of course Yemen. But at the same time, anything can happen at any time. So that Black Swan is always going to be a factor in your trading, guys. Really quick, just to do with what's happening in the SPX. Apple kind of runs the market in a lot of ways. If Apple gets a downgrade or Apple is not doing well, the SPX seems to go with it. Not only does Apple have a large percentage in the S&P 500, they also are just a really big catalyst for technology as a whole. So with that bad news coming out of a couple of different analysts saying that the innovation just hasn't been there for Apple. Apple's kind of been behind when it comes to AI. Apple really hasn't been showing us what they usually show us. Well, these are things that can bring the whole market down because then everybody questions what the other tech companies are going to have to say. So that's a big catalyst that we're going to be looking for. We've seen big moves this week with the banks. The banks are going to be reporting earnings next week. If we see good earnings from the bank, we may get a rebound back to that 4,800 area in the SPX, but we got to wait and see what's going to happen with that because we don't know if what the banks say brings the market up or down, but we do know that the economy as a whole has really been slowing down. I haven't seen a lot of consumers on my end, what I do every day, really come into spend that money like they were, right? A lot of the stimulus has slowed down. A lot of the loans and things like that have slowed down. So people really are being a little bit more alligator handish with their money, right? They don't really want to spend it. So we're seeing a little bit of a pullback in the consumer. And as we know, the U.S. consumerism is what really runs this economy. So we really want to see that spending kind of tick back up in order to say that we're in a good place with this capitalism state that we're in right now. Now, let's talk about real quick what's going on with Moderna. We talked about Moderna. I think I first started talking about Moderna with you guys in episode 4. Episode 4, we really kind of laid out a plan for Moderna. It was at about $79 at that time. They fired their CEO. Some different things had happened with Moderna. So we really wanted to start watching that for the catalyst for that to start bouncing up. Whenever you see a stock get really big support at a key level, that level was 72 with Moderna. That's when you know the institutional money is starting to come in. And when you see that not cross into that 70, 69 area, you might want to get right into that stock. And that's exactly what we did, guys. We made that move. I'm so glad we did. I was not expecting it to do what it did. But for that stock to go from $79 to $118 on Friday shows me that there's some big buying going to be looking at this week. Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly has been making big moves. We've seen 2 catalysts come out. One being that their Wegovy drug is doing extremely well. 2, it's unreal. They are going to go direct to consumer. That's going to change the game. They're cutting out the middleman. They're cutting out the pharmaceutical managers, and they're going directly to the consumer. They're going to supply the drug. They're going to administer the drug, and they're going to go ahead and guarantee that drug. So that's huge for Eli Lilly. We saw a big move up to about 620, 625, almost 630 on Friday before pulling back and closing right around that 615, 616 level. So look for Eli Lilly to go back down to around that $600 level and make a big time bounce, I think, once we hit that 600. So I'll be looking at calls on Eli Lilly if we do get that pull back to that 600 level and we hold. Another long-term play I'm looking at, guys, is a stock that's really been kind of wobbling a little bit, and that stock is Disney. Disney has really wobbled. There's been a lot of news coming out about Nelson Peltz and some other investors that are looking at doing a hostile, takeover of some board seats with Disney. Disney's films haven't been doing as well, and Disney has that big time feud going on with the governor here in Florida. So we've seen that be a catalyst on Disney, but Disney does not want to go down below that $90 level. It's been a really, really big point of support for that stock. So if we see continued strength in Disney, I'm looking at that on a long-term call for the summer. I'm looking at July $100 calls on Disney right now. They're right around the $600-700 level. I'm looking for those to balloon into $2,000-3,000 with a good, good sentiment in the market. If the market continues to do what it does now and kind of pulls back, then we'll wait to purchase those calls until we get down about to that 50-day moving average on the S&P. I really want to see those gaps fill in the S&P, and that's what we're going to talk about with number 3. This week, we're looking at a huge gap right under the S&P 500 level that we are at now. That gap needs to fill. It's at $4,600. If we get to that $4,600, guys, we may see that gap fill on that chart. I'm going to show you that chart in our recap video here in a couple more minutes, and it's going to be a beautiful thing because you'll see the price action cascade, and puts will pay thousands of percent when we get to those gaps. So we're going to talk a little bit more about gaps on the next video. It's going to be called Gap Trading 101 from Stocks and Cigars. It's going to talk about what these gaps are that we see in the chart and why I think that we're going to really see a pullback to those gaps. And when those gaps fill, we'll be back to the upside. But until we fill those gaps, I think we're still going to have a lot of trepidation on trying to get to those other levels. Guys, thanks for tuning in. That's all I got for y'all today. Beautiful, beautiful Sunday. Let's make it a huge week this week. Again, coming to you guys from the beautiful location of Smoke District right here in Tampa, Florida, one of my favorite locations to come. And you know what? Diesel, y'all got you guys from the Smoke District. I'm actually standing inside of the humidor of the Smoke District, Tampa, Florida, one of my favorite locations, as you guys know. Big G, Stocks and Cigars. Perdomos, they got them. Limited Cigar Associations, they got them. Cohiba, Red Dot, Black Dot, Luxuries, whichever ones you want, they got them. Monte Cristo's, one of my absolute favorites, got them. Okay, it's one of my favorite locations, man, because he just really keeps everything fresh. The humidor here is crazy. When you walk in, it just hits you, man. Quality. All right, so quality over quantity right here at the Smoke District, Tampa, Florida. Y'all come holler at my people. Stocks and Cigars, your boy Big G, 100.